Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oluwaseun Alexander Dada. I will be your host for today's session. In today's roundtable discussion, we are going to be, as you are aware already, we are going to be discussing artificial intelligence in Africa, the challenges and the opportunities. I will just quickly run you through the agenda for today's session, just so that we are all on the same page. So we will start with the introductory remarks. Then each of our panelists will introduce themselves. Then there will be a general discussion around the topic. And then there will be questions and answers. But what I'm thinking at this point is that since we have 4 panelists, I think we should have the Q&A sessions immediately after a particular panelist has spoken or presented their thoughts. Then after all the 4 panelists have spoken and questions have been asked, then we have the closing remarks from each of the panelists. I will remind everyone of the timeline of the time allocated for each of the sessions. So this is the way we are going to do things. And after each panelist has spoken, please, anyone in the audience is free to ask questions. I will ask questions myself, but anyone can ask questions as soon as the panelist has spoken. But one thing also I would like to ask will be for the panelists to indicate if they would like questions to be asked while they are presenting or while they are talking, or if they would prefer that questions only be asked after they finish presenting their thoughts. So this is the way we are going to go today. To round off everything, our president at CEMRI is going to address us. So this is the agenda for today. Like I said, my name is Oluwaseun Alexander Dada. I'm from the University of Helsinki, Finland. And in front of us today is a brilliant, beautiful topic, artificial intelligence in Africa. This is a very, very beautiful topic. I've been doing a lot of reading about it. To some extent, I'm also in the field of artificial intelligence. And when I look at the context of Africa, what opportunities we can harness through artificial intelligence is mind-blowing. There is no doubt about that. But for today's session, I would just like us to, in light of all the challenges that we have on the continent of Africa, I would like us to talk about the opportunities from a practical perspective and how the viewers and even the presenters, maybe the way they've taken advantage of those opportunities, because for every problem is like opportunities in disguise. So I would like us to see all the challenges we have from the point of view of opportunities. So I would really appreciate it if our panelists can also share with us how they have taken advantage of these opportunities or how people can take advantage of these opportunities on the continent of Africa. So with this, I would like our panelists to introduce themselves in the following order. Maybe Dr. Awuni can help us with tell us about himself, maybe in 5 minutes. Then we move on to Linda. Then we move on to Dr.
All right.
Yeah, please.
Dr. Dada, thank you very much. I think that this is a great opportunity for me. Normally, I've been looking for this opportunity since I'm in that space. Anyway, so this aspect is for me to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Awuni. I'm actually a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana. And then I had my PhD and MSc in computer science, all from University of Eastern Finland in Finland. So technically, Dada, I was also in Finland, but in UNSU. Yes, so I studied there for my master's and then the PhD, and I decided to come back to Ghana. So I have actually been active in areas of machine learning applications in terms of research. And I've been doing a lot of research also in learning analytics as well. And of course, also an area of NLP, natural language processing. So like I said, so this is basically this is what I will say about myself for now. And I'm also a member of CEMRI. Actually, I'm a member of CEMRI. And then I also hold adjoint lectureship positions in 3 different universities in Africa. That is University of Namibia, Malawi, University of Science and Technology, and also University of Turku, actually Finland. Yeah, so let me just pause here so that others can come in. Of course, we have a long way to go. Thank you very much, Dr. Dada. Another person can take it from here.
Thank you, Dr. Awuni. So, Linda, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dada. Yeah. I'm Linda Ochwada. I did my undergraduate in Kenya, University of Moi, in BA Geography. Then I transitioned to Technical University Berlin in Germany, where I did my master's in geoinformatics. After I did my master's, I transitioned into geo AI, so using geodata with in applications for AI. So I did a couple of projects, including detecting water points near Lake Victoria. I worked in geo area for around 3 years, and I felt I needed a new challenge since I felt like the geo part I had my own goals and I accomplished my own goals. Yeah, being the biggest stage, speak to to a group of people, which I also spoke until the German Parliament, and so I started a new challenge, AI in sales. So right now I work as a product evangelist, meaning I translate the technical world to sales and marketing teams and other people who do not understand yet the aspect of AI and machine learning in applications. So that is me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Linda. So, Dr. Temitayo Omotenyiwa.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes,
Okay,
we can
yes.
hear you.
I am Dr. Temitayo Omotenyiwa. I am a university teacher. I like to emphasize that I'm a teacher. I am a researcher and a programmer. I'm a senior lecturer and the acting HOD of the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, Federal University of Health Sciences in Nigeria. I have well over 10 years of experience in academics and in the industry. I have developed quite a number of applications and products, and my journey into AI began in 2019, and since then I have worked on machine learning models for toxic comment classification on social medias, for email spam filtering, both text-based and image-based. Currently, I am alongside Dr. Friday Agbo of CEMRI. We are currently discussing with some scholars in Harvard on how to improve awareness and hands-on implementation of tiny ML, which is an emerging area of machine learning. I am not a god yet in AI, so I am also very excited to learn from the experts that are going to be speaking to all of us today. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Dada, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Doctor. So, Ms. Mary Adewumi.
Okay. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Mary Adewumi. I graduated from Bowen University, BSc, and I had my MSc in University of Lagos State University. And explaining my journey, I would say, from there, I've been working as a policy researcher since 2011 with NACETEM. But during the COVID period, that's 2019 to 2019 precisely, or 2019 to 2020, I started as a data scientist. So from data scientist, I navigated to let's say medical or biomedical with AI. Okay, so and from there, yeah, I've done. I can't remember, and I can't be pointing the number of projects I've done. Currently, I'm a project manager in
Hello?
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, I'm a project manager in Umdena. I had a cancer research. Let me mention that my area of focus is diagnosing cancer through AI pathways. So I have a research group, cancer research with AI. I've done yes, as a lead machine learning engineer, I've done quite I'll say a lot of projects, on lung cancer. Currently, we are working on cervical cancer with AI, colorectal cancer, that was one that got the award with ACR. Which one again? A lot. Lung cancer, colorectal, pancreatic cancer, dementia. I'm working again on dementia for NEURIP's conference that we're working on. And a lot more that I would say, yeah, and I'm head of some groups. I'm head of another group, 53 in ovarian cancer. Then which one again? Yeah, 53 in ovarian cancer. So we look at the pathway, we look at the pharmacogenetic aspect, that's the molecular docking aspect, and the AI pathways. And yeah, and I volunteer as studies with focus on two different countries that'll be disclosed later, and I'm also other scholarships, so yeah, and I think I'm starting a work too in September, October, with another company in Highland that works on diagnosing diseases too with AI, and many more. Yeah. So
thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Ms. Adewumi. This is a very beautiful profile. Yeah. So let's dive into the topic of the day. I would like to start with Dr. Awuni. Dr. Awuni, what would you like to share with us on the subject of AI in Africa, the opportunities and the challenges?
So I don't know whether this is the part where we are supposed to make that 10-minute presentation.
Yes, please, it is.
Okay. All right. So, on CEMRI platform, I made mention that I haven't actually prepared any presentation, but you will give me the chance to share my screen. So basically, I know that there are people here who are not in AI. Probably they have interest in joining AI. And I would like to draw the line somehow between the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, and now, what is revolutionizing our system, which is the deep learning. And from there, I'll look briefly into the ethics of AI. So let me quickly share my screen. It's not a slide, but I just want to write. I'm a teacher, as the other participant put it. He's also a teacher, so teachers, we like to write. All right. I hope you can hear me loud and clear, please.
Yes, doctor.
Hello?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so before I draw the line, let's look at this. Just a minute, I'm trying to open up my board. And I hope that you can all see my board right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So now, let me in my presentation, I want to start with a model. And then I want you to help me in understanding this model. Then we can relate it to our current society, especially Africa. So let's say that we have a stream. the model goes like, we have a stream, or it could be just a river, a pond, or whatever. So let me use the word stream. In the stream, there are a lot of aquatic animals like fish. We have crabs, and then let's say that we have stones, also stones living in the same pond. With this, of course, so it means that we have aquatic animals, stones, and all that living in that pond, and the pond is serene, or let's say the stream is serene. Every animal is moving left, right, and of course, it's a wild society. So what it means is that some animals or some aquatic animals kill the others in order to survive, but within a serene environment. And you have to do that, strategically. So now the model is that let's assume that you have a big stone, which is like 1/3 of the stream or the pond, dropping into this particular stream. So my question to you is that, what do you think, what are your observations if you have about 1/3 of the stream, a stone, dropping into this particular stream or let's say pond? What will be your observation? I just need some members to respond to this. What do you think will be your observations here? What will happen?
Kill the fishes.
I didn't hear that, please. Hello?
I was saying the stones will kill the fishes.
Yes, so killing fishes. Okay, not all, of course, some of them. What else? It will create some kind of rippling effect. I don't know, rippling, some waves within. And then what else? We could also deduce that once the stone drop into the pond, some of the fishes will take advantage in a way to create more opportunity for themselves. And they're not only the fishes, of course, we have crabs, we have other aquatic animals. And those crabs and other aquatic animals, sometimes they make holes within just to create their own habitat or their own space to live in. So the stone is likely to kill some of them. And the stone is also likely to create an opportunity for some of these animals in order for them to create their own space under the stone. So it will even position them in a way that they cannot easily be found, because an animal, an aquatic animal, or let's say a crab or whatever, can strategically create a space under the stone in a way that other predators will find it difficult to get them. So what it means is that this stone, somehow, even though it dropped in with a lot of challenges, a lot of problems, some of them will be killed, it also creates opportunity for other aquatic animals or other animals. And then, mind you, I also made mention that already there was some stones, gravels in the stream, or let's say the pond. And that stones and gravels were there, that it has been there. And then these animals have already developed some kind of norms and they see it normal. But the new stone that dropped into the stream or the pond is problematic. Some see it as problematic because it creates a lot of issues. Now, let's relate this one to our society. Of course, we are talking about Africa in our context. So if you look at this model, the stone that is being dropped into the pond here is artificial intelligence through machine learning. The pond is our society, that's Africa. Then the fish is us. The fish is us, human beings living in this society. Then the stone here is a classical IT tools. Already we have existing technologies that we have actually been using for years. And this AI or machine learning, whatever, is dropping into the stream. So in effect, all I'm saying is that as of just now, Ghana, Africa is still a developing economy. Now, all of a sudden, we are having a very huge stone. We are having AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning dropping into our society. What happened is that before the stone dropped, or IT or machine learning and all that came into the system, the pond was serene. The fish and others were living in harmony. They have created or developed their own norms that they are living in. Now, what it means is that, of course, they have their own rules, they have their norms that they are living in. Now we have AI dropping into the society, into the pond, or the stone dropping into the pond. It creates some kind of rippling effect, which has both ethical and social implications. Now, for the fishes to live in a normal life again, it will take some time. So let's say sometime they will come to realize that the stone that has been dropped into the pond is normal. So now they consider the stone to be a normal thing. so they can now live their life again. Now, in between the time after the stone has been dropped into the pond, to the time that they have to now understand that the stone is normal and they develop their own norms and all that to continue, there is a need for them to exercise some kind of ethics and some kind of morals. So the same applies to our society. As it is now, artificial intelligence, machine learning have to stay. Things are coming in that area. It is, of course, creating a lot of opportunities, and there are some people who are also capitalizing on the AI, the application or the capabilities of AI and machine learning to create problems, to cause harm to the society. Now, as it is now, in between the time the stone dropped and the time that we have a norm, there is no laws, rules. As it is now in Ghana, there is no actually law that is actually governing the use of artificial intelligence. Of course, we have cybersecurity law and other laws. So as it is within this space that we as the moral agent society must exercise some kind of ethics. That is why in recent times, there has been a lot of advocacy in terms of responsible artificial intelligence use. Until the country or the society, Africa, is able to come up with certain ethical principles, certain laws governing or guiding artificial intelligence. Now, as I was saying, that I'll move a little bit, to talk about the AI. Now, the question is, this AI, and then I also made mention of machine learning. What is it at all? And what's the relationship? Okay. Now, I'm also going to highlight to you, of course, I'm a teacher, so I like to use scenarios. Now, let's look at this. Artificial intelligence, evolution of artificial intelligence started in 1950, where Alan Turing and co were very active in that area. Now, the whole idea of AI was that let us build a system and mimic human intelligence in those systems. So at the time, those machines were hard-coded, meaning that they had whatever you tell the machine to do, it will do exactly so. So let's assume that in your house, you develop a robot, which is AI. Then you tell the robot that anybody at all that comes into my house after 10 p.m., shoot to kill that person. This robot would do exactly the same. That was how robotics, AI was at the time, or the traditional AI was at the time. Now, what it means is that even if my wife, my mother, is coming after 10 p.m., my wife or my mother is coming after 10 p.m., this robot is likely to shoot to kill my mother or to shoot to kill my sister. So that means that even though the idea is to mimic human intelligence, but the issue is that these machines lack common sense. So that actually, fast forward in 1970, thereof brought about the machine learning. Now, artificial intelligence gave birth to machine learning. And the difference is that instead of hard coding or do explicit programming in those AIs for them to work and then do exactly what you ask it to do, the idea is that why don't we give data to the machines? So when you give data to the machines can learn from the data and they can take their own decision. And that brought about machine learning. If you look at the name machine learning. So now learning and then picking functions from the data and making its own decision. So in this case, if my mother is coming, I can decide to give data to the machine now, give data about my mother, features about my attributes, variables to my about my mother to the machine. So the machine has learned it. So if it's after 10 p.m. and my mother is coming, the machine is likely to exercise common sense because it has learned data about my mother. So after 10 p.m., it will not shoot to kill your mother. So that is the machine learning. That's how machine learning also came to play. So sometimes when you mention AI and machine learning, some people try to separate them. In fact, AI gave birth to machine learning. I would say that machine learning is advanced from traditional artificial intelligence. Yes.
10 minutes is up, but you can have 2 minutes or 3 just to...
Okay, let me wrap up. Okay, so now, all right. So, of course, that's machine learning. And then, of course, there were a lot of algorithms within the machine learning space we call artificial neural network. It works by mimicking human neurons, how our neurons works and all that. And this, neural network has some layers, hidden layers, and layers were quite shallow. Researchers did a lot of work and they realized that they can expand the layers, so that each layer will be given a responsibility to refine the outcome. And that gave birth to what we call the deep learning. So one unique thing about deep learning is that instead of giving machine data to the machine, just as machine learning does, with the deep learning, it can pick data from the environment by itself and, of course, make its own decision. All right, so I will leave it here. Of course, I will expand it further once we are having a discussion. So let me leave it here, and thank you very much, Dr. Dada, for the opportunity. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Awuni. Before I give audience the opportunities to ask you questions, I have one or two. The first question is, in light of the beautiful explanation regarding it provided,
Yes.
can you please quickly, just in summary, tell us the challenges in the context of Africa and also the opportunities that
Well, yeah, thank you very much. Well, as you rightly said earlier, we talk about challenges. I'm sure we cannot finish. But let me just talk about brief challenges of AI, especially AI implementation. I even have a paper in that respect. One of the key challenges to me has to do with the disjoint between academia and the industry. As it is now, there's a huge problem. It looks like the industry do not have, trust in academia. And then mostly the people at the helm, especially those leading, many of them, they have knowledge in a certain area. AI and machine learning is coming up. And the younger ones are the people holding on to it. So one of the issues is that opportunities to be given to these people to actually advance this kind of area, which we all know that is the future, is problematic because of the people at the helm of affairs. And then the disjoint between the academia industry is also a huge problem, because the industry perceives certain challenges, of course, which artificial intelligence and machine learning is able to solve. Because there's a disjoint, the academia is not able to provide some kind of solution between that. So it's a huge problem. And I know there are, let me also add another one has to do with language processing. Some of us, for instance, in my PhD, I developed some kind of algorithm to track emotions and sentiments, which is NLP. So now, and I did that work in English. There are a lot of natural language processing resources in English that can be used, to do this kind of work. But the question is that in Africa, assuming that I want to analyze sentiment, and somebody goes online and write those his comments and everything in Igbo. So we don't have those resources, the NLP resources, to even process our own language. So it's a problem. So it's a huge challenge. So mostly what we do is that we always leverage on the English. Why don't we have a way that we can, of course, develop our own resources? And I know that there's one active researcher in Nigeria doing more in the Igbo language, and then I think South Africa, and then Senegal. But apart from that, there's a problem in respect of that. So language processing, especially in our local language, is an issue. All right. So, and then with the opportunities, yes, there's a lot. You can look at it from the academic perspective. You can look at it from the health, education, business, and agri. I have been doing quite a lot of study in health informatics. If you look at the academia, one of the biggest opportunity, AI can create is that there are a lot of people in that space who are not in IT, who are not in the area of AI and machine learning. So being able to advance knowledge in that area, of course, you can also leverage that capability in academia. You'll be a very good data scientist in academia. In education, it creates the opportunity of understanding the behaviors of your students using the NLP techniques, and also try to understand and also modify your teaching methodologies as a result of leveraging on AI technologies to understand. If you look at that, so on and so forth. Anyway, so I think that I'll leave it here, and then I don't know whether I've answered you. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Awuni. Yeah, those challenges you mentioned are actually very, very, very beautiful. But one thing is the opportunities you mentioned. I was actually hoping to have something. The opportunities, in my opinion, are not as tangible as the challenges you indicated. For people learning and watching us, and even for yourself, how can we leverage on the challenges that we have from either entrepreneurial point of view, because every problem is a potential opportunity. So, like you mentioned, NLP tools for African
Yeah,
language.
NLP resources.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what do you think? What is your 50 cents on that?
Well, in terms of the solution, right?
Yeah. That we can,
Yeah,
as
you see,
Africans, we can.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, of course, one of the obvious, solution is that it's high time the older generation will come to accept the fact that technology is evolving, is advancing in the area, and that younger ones are actually mastering or getting more knowledge in that area. So they should give opportunity for such, so that academia can develop in terms of the AI and the machine learning. Then the aspect of the NLP, for instance, like I said, few countries have started at doing something like that. And then if you look at Europe, for instance, I studied in Finland. There, my master's, my PhD was all under sponsorship. So the government, and I didn't take this grant for nothing. I was asked to implement something which was vital for the nation. So with the NLP aspect, I think that countries, Africa needs to understand that machine learning, AI and machine learning has come to stay. So they should find a way to, of course, provide some kind of funding to support this kind of studies. Let me give one practical example. There was funding in my own university, and then I did apply. And the idea was that I wanted to start initiative in terms of research and building local NLP so that we can aid or we can help processing our text. I did apply. I went for the interview, and I was told, it's like those are the panelists. There was no an IT person. There was a single IT person, but it's not into that space. So they did not even understand what I was even talking about. I tried my best, but eventually I lost it. So you see, these are some of the initiatives. We need a way that the government should also find a way to give some kind of sponsorship, so that we can promote this area. We build some kind of capacity building in the area and all that. All right. So, well, of course, like I said, I can talk a lot about the challenges and opportunities. Our time is quite limited, and I think that yes.
I can.
All right.
There's
thank
a
you
question.
very much.
Yeah, Doctor. Thank you. There's a question on the chat from Paul Sylvester Ayanimakam. The question is there a linkage between AI and knowledge management in the context of skill sets and database sharing, which is lacking in Africa and Nigeria in particular?
Yeah, of course. You see, when you talk about knowledge management, well, of course, we have tacit knowledge and all that. But, the idea underlying knowledge management also, or let's say knowledge management is characterized by data, because knowledge can, of course, put in the form of data. And when I was talking about the line between AI and machine learning, if you remember, I made mention that, the AI, the classical AI, got to a stage where we need to give it data to learn. So knowledge, of course, can be archived, and this knowledge can be used as a training or as a tool to train this kind of machine learning, so that it can be able to make the prediction, or can help us to be able to reduce that massive resources that we use in terms of trying to solve a single problem, bottlenecks and all that. So there's a linkage between the two. I think I have one colleague who is also in the area of knowledge management. He has been very aggressive in the aspect of artificial intelligence. And yes, of course, it's lacking in Africa. And, some of us, when we study, because of the contents and then the incentives, when we go out to study, coming back, normally, if the motivation is not there, it's a bit problematic. So yes, there's a linkage between the two. And then, of course, knowledge management can also be, put in the database that can be used as a way to train this machine learning algorithms to predict. Okay, let me give one practical example. If you look at let's take, for instance, I'm looking for an expert, someone who has good knowledge in databases, and then based on the attributes and then data the person will give me, or I can just interview some people, the attributes and data I will get, I can use that one to build what we call a predictive model. So that a new person that is coming, I can use that to predict if this person has the capability to do the work or not. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ogoni. I would like to give opportunity for one more question from the audience to
Okay.
Dr.
Hello. Good afternoon,
Hello,
everyone.
yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Dr. Uni, this is Dr. Lekka David.
Dr. Lekpa, my friend, how are you?
Fine. Thank you
Okay.
for a wonderful presentation. And I just want to ask this concerning when you were presenting, you talked about trying to work like a neuron. Now, from the neuroscience perspective,
Yes.
the brain takes sensory information, interprets, integrates, and then send out the information for action. I want to find out if the AI, does it have the ability to interpret, integrate, and add some level of intelligence into the data that has been inputted in it, or it is just a one-way thing? Whatever you put in, it will just produce it.
Okay, so like I made mention of artificial neural network is one of the machine learning algorithms. So, and it mimics human neurons in a way. Of course, not entirely, not completely. I know you are a neuroscientist. You agree with me that, let's say, if I touch an object, the neurons work in a way that it sends message into our brain for interpretation and all that. And as the data or it's moving through the neurons, there's some kind of refinement before it gets to the brain. So that's how artificial neural network works. So initially, the ANN had few shallows within that when it is sending data or inputs, it takes some fewer steps before the final output is given. But researchers realized that they can add more layers, which every layer represents a neuron. That as it moves through, it refines the data, it refines so that at the end of the day, it gives accurate, data to the brain for interpretation. So the brain works, or the brain is like the algorithm, the machine, so that it's the neurons. We will call it a forward propagation anyway. We have back and the forward propagation. So it takes into the brain, and even the interpretation. There is what we call loss function. It's trying to find out the difference in terms of the actual data that was given to the system and also the output. If the difference is wide, it can go back. We call backward propagation. It will do over and over until the result is refined before the output is given. Of course, it cannot be completely, as strong as human, the way human works. But somehow there's a lot of studies that are going on and still increasing the hidden layers in a way that, we can get near perfection. So that is why now with self-driving cars is as a result of this kind of deep learning techniques. It is able to pick data, and of course the neurons works tirelessly to see how best it can give a correct output. Well, Lekpa, you are neuroscience, you are what we call an expert in that area, but it mimics it in a way. I think that's the explanation I can provide for now. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, to add with what in terms of the neuron.
Dr. Lekpa, can you please reserve your question for the last section? Yeah.
All right.
Try to entertain more questions after all the speakers after all the panelists have spoken. Is that fine, Doctor? Okay, thank you. The next panelist to talk will be Linda. Linda, can you please share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I sent my presentation. Are you going to share it, or I just share from mine?
No,
yes, I will.
Yeah, it will be shared from here.
I'll share it now. Yeah. Yeah, can you see it?
Yes, I can see it. And thank you for sharing. So, before I start, I just want to mention that I support you, Dr. Dada. As you mentioned, problems are always the tonic challenges, right? And I believe that there is where there is a problem, especially one that we're experiencing, be it in demographic or geographic, it's a chance for us to create alternative opportunities. In this particular presentation, I will mainly highlight AI in sales in terms of applications. And where you are, just keep in mind the following questions during my presentation. So do you see any of these applications a way that Africa can adapt them? Sorry. So, do you see any way Africa can adapt to such applications? And number two, are our sales processes transparent enough for us to adapt AI? If your family has ever been into sales, you know how sometimes it can be challenging and corrupt just to be in the sales sector. So yeah, and just move to the next slide. So okay, so sales can really be complex and hard, especially when it comes to business to business. These are sales from one business to another business. Conversion of in terms of conversion rates are when you meet people, you talk to them, and you want to sign a deal. So converting it just from talks to signing a deal, these are very low, especially in this particular area. The sales cycle are long. Just to get someone to sign those contracts, to make sure that this person understands what you do so that they can sign that contract with you, with your firm, they are always so long. They can take up to a year for you to sign a contract of around 1 million euros. And this 1 year is wastage of time, wastage of resources. And with AI, it can help you ease up and improve sales. According to Harvard Review, around companies that use AI in their sales processes increase their leads, people that they get to have new businesses with more than 50%, reduce their call time between 60% to 70%, meaning this is resources that they have saved, and also reduce on cost, meaning they have more revenue in their company and just produce a lot when compared to companies that don't use AI in their sales processes. So next slide. So I'm just going to look at least a few made around 10 areas where AI can support sales. Number one is demand forecasting. I think we have seen these in let's say, for example, in Facebook. Let's say it's not B2B, but for example, in Facebook, when you look at, sometimes you look at Amazon and you get advertisement channeled for something that you've looked at. I mean, I was looking at drawers, and all of a sudden I'm getting advertisements on drawers. This can also be seen in areas where business to business implies. So how much demand do you want? And by doing that, they can optimize on supply chain. So how much they should order, how much they should produce, and how much sales operations they should put in. Also including how much resources they should put into sales and marketing. This is more of demand forecasting. Lead generation, when it comes to lead generation, is actually identifying, attracting, and screening for qualified leads. You need something, you need to buy, let's say Kenya needs to buy buses, and they are looking for eco buses that are using electricity. They can always look for people through AI, through screening, through scanning the internet, and trying to find out where they can get these leads from, where you get these particular buses from. Or even people who are looking to sell these buses, they can always go online and check which companies they produce. But it's the same way as reverse engineering the algorithm, in that if I search online where I can get such buses, the people who are selling such buses are getting a notification that there's somebody looking for a particular bus, and through that you can always find such leads. One that I'm really particularly interested in here is number 3, lead scoring and prioritization. This one I will talk to it later, because this is where I'm focusing. I'm focusing my career in. Number 4, sales content personalization. Let's say, for example, you got your lead and you want to make sure that you sign this lead. Let's say, for example, you are looking at a company and this company is in Kenya and you are in Nigeria, and you don't know what is happening to this Kenyan company, yet you want to do some businesses with them. There are some tools out there that have a web scraping capability that brings you news regarding this company. It's personalized generally for a specific company so that you know everything that is happening in this company, or what good news or bad news that are happening in this company. And you by yourself, you can decide if you're going to beg with them or not. Number 5 is sales rep next action suggestion. Most of you write mails. If you're working with Google sometimes and you have those to-do lists, there is always this maybe it's time for you to make a call. Do you want to write an email back? It's been a while since you wrote an email. Do you want to write it back? Google sometimes offers that. And this is more of an AI-related application that they realize that the program or the algorithm realizes that you have not written an email in a specific time, and therefore it suggests for you to take the next action, make a call or write an email. Next slide, please. So if it suggests for you, of course, to write and you take actions, meaning probably your sales process will be much smoother, and probably you will sign this deal. Sales data input automation. For example, you have Zoom. You send me an email showing me that, oh, Linda, this is a meeting, particular time, and you click, okay, I accept this email. So it will log in through my calendar completely, and it always will show me that you have a meeting at this particular time.
800.
Maybe
800.
Maybe not only that it will show me this automation, but rather it will automate and synchronize with different applications. As I mentioned in okay, thank you for muting. As I mentioned in point 5, there is this email suggestion, but these ones are number 7 is also response suggestion. Not only does it suggest that you should
700.
Okay. Not only does it suggest that you mute, that you respond to an email, but rather it can suggest that these are the next writings that you should put in. That, oh, hello, Linda, and depending on the email that you wrote me before, it will suggest you some new lines for you to input. This is kind of what most salespeople have, because each and every day they need to answer at least 50 emails. Meeting setup automation. This is what an example that I've said in Zoom. So you have also digital assistants. Sales representatives can chat and even have email bots. You've seen a lot of bots when you are going to, pardon?
You have 2 minutes left.
Oh yeah, when you're going to write emails, you can have these chats. And price optimization. This is when you have a web crawler that passes through the web, see prices of other competitors, and gives you a suggestion on what price you should input. And then proper filtering through web scraping. This is one that I like, because these can also come hand in hand in government tenders, whereby if, for example, you are in Nigeria, you have a tender, let's say from Kenya, you have a program or you have a software that will show you the laws in Kenya the laws in Kenya that will make probably the prospect not good or good for you. So it shows you the legal framework of a particular country that the company that you want to work with come from. I had several other slides. You can share the slide on what I'm working on lead prioritization and deep into AI. But since I have 2 minutes, maybe I can just pass through them. Yeah, can you just scroll and give me like 5 seconds? So I work in deal code and we do that. Next, deal prioritization. Next. What we do is we make sure that salesperson can prioritize the deals that have the high probability of closing, and the deals that have low probability of closing, they are not. You do not spend so much time on them. So we say you have like 30% more revenue than you initially had. Next. So where we get our data from our company like Pipedrive, HubSpot, LinkedIn. We have like engagement tracking, market news online, and also we do a lot of web scraping from social media. We put into our model and run them. When we run the models, it gives you the winning probabilities and risk level.
Ms.
And
Linda,
also we have the smart to-dos. Thank you. Okay, just go next and next. Yeah. You can always follow me and I give you the notes. Thank you, Dada.
thank you very much. So it is time for questions to Ms. Linda
Yeah,
Oshwada. So
Oshwada.
are there questions from the audience to Ms. Linda? In the meantime,
Hello.
okay, please.
This is Emmanuel. I just want to ask. I assume it's not a problem, but I'm just thinking from an African perspective. Do you think sales and AI are well integrated yet? I guess because I found your presentation so unique, because I'm also from marketing, but when AI and sales, I've not really seen much from Africa. Maybe I have not read or I've not come across it, but how do you think it differs from, let's say, digital marketing, which I think everybody will know? What different perspective do you think AI and sales brings compared to what we already know with digital marketing?
What different perspective? Okay, but when it comes to integration, let me start that. Yeah, that's bring it on. No, that one. When it comes to integration, I've seen a lot of companies in Africa, and especially startups, look at only chatbots and bots in general, and this is what is rampant in Africa. And also, and so we talk through chatbots but when you compare the ecosystem between, I'm in Europe, so I use Europe. When you compare the ecosystem between Europe and Africa and sales in general, I would say we still have a long way to go as Africans. And that's the whole reason why I had 2 questions at the beginning. Do you see a way that Africa can adapt what I'm presenting in the next future? Or what are the sales process and our sales processes transparent enough for us to use AI in our sales processes? That's the question that I pose. We still have a long way to go, and the future is still wide, and yes, we can integrate such processes there. Did I answer your question or?
Yeah, please.
Yes,
Can I come in?
Okay, before that,
Yeah.
Dr. Emmanuel, I think
Okay.
yes, you did. And also like the fact that you highlighted the chatbot. I think that is something very, very popular these days. So thank you so much for that clarification.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Doc, I wanted to give one other perspective in terms of sales and also AI, or let's say machine or whatever. I know that, CEMRI, we have actually been doing quite a lot of research in areas of what we call association rules mining. Association rules mining, the idea is all about, it's like a basket analysis. For instance, let's say you have a company has a lot of branches all over in Africa. That branches, let's say just a sales kind of company, they are into selling of goods and services or providing services. With association rules mining, let's say that you, Dr. Moga, you go to a particular shop to buy certain item. The item that you buy is a basket. Another person also goes to another shop or the same shop, buys certain item. That's another basket. So we can throw in a certain technique we call a basket association rules mining into the data to explore the data to see the relationship between the items in that particular shop, in those shops. So at the end of the day, you're able to say that, okay, if somebody buys, let's say, a bed, the person is most likely to buy a mattress. Or if somebody buys milk and then, let's say, bread at the same time, that person is likely to buy, let's say, sugar. So association rules mining can bring this out. If you're able to get the findings as a marketer, you can now develop some strategies. One of your strategies could be that, okay, let me reduce or give discounts to this product and increase this price strategically, knowing that the data has told you that if somebody buys this, the person is likely to also buy this. So that's one of the perspectives in terms of sales and then machine learning or AI. Thank you. I'm done, please. Yes. Dada, we cannot hear you. Stop.
You are mute.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. Miss Linda, there are questions in the chat that I will read some of them to you. I will appreciate if you can give a very concise response to those. So the first one is from Paul. He says, this presentation is very useful, but there is one of the challenges, but this is one of the challenges I perceive facing Africa. 90% of Africa's businesses are dominated with SMEs. Is AI affordable to implement in the marketing context, and what strategy has been created to support this SME?
That is a very good question. And last year, when I went to Kenya, I was talking about how we can implement AI as a whole, and even if there is any strategy or any laws that govern the AI as a whole, right? And to say the truth, right now, I have no idea if there is any strategy at all in Africa that governs such to be implemented into the market. With your first question, is that depending where, there are some startups that are very cost friendly for very small entrepreneurs to actually adapt AI applications into their companies. These small SMEs, to adapt such applications. You find that some software have these status package that is very cost effective, very cost friendly, and I think companies in Africa can always try out and be competitive in the market. And this is what we are always afraid of using money to make money. It's always important that you use money to make more money. You cannot say that, okay, I go for free, then I expect to get my reward.
Okay, your point is noted. Thank you very much. Here's another question for you. So Mary is asking, what is the result of the chatbots? What tools do you use, and what tools do you use?
Results of chatbots. I fail to understand actually your question on what are the results of chatbots, right? Because let me just in short, what chatbots does is actually engage you as a client while the in-person is not there, and therefore saving resources that the in-person, like I as a person, will use to sit there and key in as my working hours. So it will chat or engage you in a conversation on what you want. And what tools do I use? I use HubSpot.
You
Both
use
HubSpot.
okay.
For
It would be
chatbots,
nice. It would be nice if you can share some links in the chat after.
okay, HubSpot. I use HubSpot, and
okay.
also, yeah, you can look at my company deal code. We use HubSpot and Pipedrive, and that is what we do with deal scoring. It's actually a spot that does deal software that does this deal scoring prioritization.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
My question, when you were during your presentation, you made mention of sales content contextualization. And my question is,
I mentioned what? Just repeat.
sales content, when your tool contextualizes sales content to the case of a particular client.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So my question is this: for a tool to be able to do that, it means the tool must have access to all your information and that of the other people for which you are being given insight. So is there a fine line between privacy and, well, the question is, what are the privacy challenges in this case?
With our tool, we have only the APIs from HubSpot and Pipedrive. When it comes to privacy, we do not read emails, or no email is read, but rather the action that is taken. So if there is an incoming, let's say, an incoming line through your pipeline that you are making a call, that is just registered as a call. And you can as well as key in the end of the call. For example, if you integrate it with the Slack can record the time a huddle is started to the time that the huddle is ending. So it's keyed in as a call. You do not listen to what people are talking about, but rather the lengthness of the engagement. Or if it's an email sent between person 1 to person B. Nothing concerning reading or opening of email or listening to anything is happening. So when it comes to privacy, everything is under key and lock.
All right, thank you, Ms. Linda. But your presentation is actually just like Dr. Emmanuel Mogaji noted. What you presented is very unique. But one thing I've not been able to pick out clearly, at least to the best of my ability, is what exactly are the challenges in the context of Africa, and what are the opportunities?
Great question. So, opportunities. What I presented is the opportunity. Is the key opportunity.
Yeah, I would like you to just summarize it so that it will be an easy takeaway for people. If you can summarize, what are the challenges in the context of Africa AI, and what are in terms of opportunities? I see opportunities, AI in sales, those kind of things. But can you just summarize for us, just so we adhere to the theme of this discussion?
I will just give one go away point of opportunity. As long as Africa, we have transparent processes in sales and procurement, we can use AI in sales to win more tenders. We can use web scraping, as we love a lot on internet and really talking a lot on Twitter. We can use that as an opportunity to channel our sales processes geared towards the new generation that is e-centered. One of the biggest challenges is, somebody commented there, garbage in, garbage out. How to dig the mine, the gold from that garbage is always the greatest challenge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so we move on to the next presenter, Dr. Omoteyiwa. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Dada. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I will just continue from where the other speakers have stopped, but I would also take the time to look at the background so that we understand from the AI perspective, what exactly does it stand for? Artificial intelligence is an area of computer science that allows machines. If I say machines, they are not necessarily hardware devices. They could be softwares too. Allows machines to imitate the human cognitive processes. And what are those human cognitive processes? Your problem-solving ability as a human, your decision-making ability.
Excuse me, doctor?
Yes.
Are you sharing slides or are you just
I'm not sharing a slide, like I mentioned earlier. I'm not sharing a slide.
I want to show it
and then I'll share some links.
All right. Okay, cool. Please proceed. All right.
I'll share some links through the chat room. So, like I said, artificial intelligence is aimed at developing machines that can imitate the human cognitive processes. And what are those human cognitive processes? Your problem-solving ability, your decision-making ability, your memory, your ability to remember, your ability to recognize pattern, and so on. Now, the AI itself, it's embodied by some other subfields like the machine learning, the robotics, the natural language processing, augmented reality, virtual reality, human-computer interaction, and so on. So, artificial intelligence is not new. It has been around for a long time, since the 50s. But the problem is that artificial intelligence, the concept of artificial intelligence came earlier than its time. The enabling technology required to support artificial intelligence as at the time it came were not available. As at the time artificial intelligence came, there was no internet. As at the time the concept of artificial intelligence was birthed, there was no internet. So artificial intelligence is not new. It's just that at this time, the technologies that defined the third industrial revolution, they are now enabling artificial intelligence. The technologies that define the third industrial revolution. Remember that in the first industrial revolution, the major source of power was cattle, animals were the major source of energy. They used them to work in farms, and in the process of mining coal, the steam engine was discovered and was built. But by the third industrial revolution, there was already electricity. One of the major inventions of that third industrial revolution was the combustion engine, which led to the development of manufacture of cars. So artificial intelligence now has these technologies, internet, computers, supercomputers, to support it right now. And then there's data. There's a lot of data that is being generated across the continent that artificial intelligence can now harness to come into full force. So AI precisely is a technique that allows you, for example, just like Dr. Winnie said, you give a model or a machine learning, a software, you give it data and you give it the answer. You are giving the software a problem and you are giving it the solution to that problem. The job of the machine learning algorithm or classifier is to look at the problem, look at the solution, understand the pattern, and derive. Is like mathematics. You give me a quadratic equation, you give me ABC, and then you tell me what the answer, what are the two values of X. Once you give the two values of X and you give me the equation, the algorithm is expected to define the rules for solving that equation. You are not going to solve the equation. You provide the problem, you provide the answer. The model is expected to look at those problems and arrive at an answer. Now, there are so many, but the other speakers have spoken, but they have not mentioned the fact that it is not as if AI is not present in Africa. For example, in University of Pretoria in South Africa, in 2009, they acquired a very expensive robot, an assistive robotic system that is powered by AI in the Merensky Library. The robot is being used. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, doctor, please continue.
Okay. The robot in Pretoria welcomes you to the library. It tells you, you can interact with the robot and find out how, and tell the robot, oh, where can I get this also? And then the robot will navigate and take you to where that particular book is. In Rwanda, the government of Rwanda partnered with Zipline. They partnered with Zipline to develop drones that are powered by artificial intelligence, because these drones are autonomous. They are not operated via remotes. They use the GPS coordinates to find their location. In Rwanda, the road network is very bad. I will share the videos after my presentation on the chat room. In Rwanda, the road network is so bad, but the government still felt, okay, if we don't have enough money to fix all the road, we can bring in artificial intelligence to ensure that medical products like blood that are very essential can be delivered to rural areas at the shortest possible time. So in Rwanda, they're already getting or benefiting or making use of AI in terms of healthcare service delivery. In Kenya, there's the Nuru app. The Nuru app helps to detect diseases on cassava. It's an AI system that you can use to scan the leaf, and it will tell you and then from there, you can know what to do. There are early warning systems also that are being used across Africa. The problem is it is not yet widespread, which takes me to the challenges. The challenges is one of the challenges that we have with AI in Africa is that the awareness is quite low. The awareness is very low. In 2019, I was developing a concept note to be submitted to TED Fund. And the proposal was on development of a machine learning model for detection of diabetic retinopathy. So I needed to bring in a consultant to work with me, because when I met with the consultant and I told him what I wanted to do, one, he was shocked. He was like, you mean a software will do that? I said, yes. I now asked him, do you keep data when you take the picture of these iris or the iris? When you take these pictures, do you keep them? He said, no, they don't keep them. So what it means is that if we were to go on that project, we would have to set up maybe a free eye checkup for those that are diabetic to come to that facility, so that the doctors can take the pictures of the iris, and then they will do the classification. So once they do the classification, they will tell us which ones are positive for diabetic retinopathy, which ones are not positive for diabetic retinopathy, and then the model will be fed with those images, and then the images can learn those patterns and serve as an assistive system to help an ophthalmologist to quickly arrive at a decision when you are looking at the eye of a diabetic patient, because diabetic retinopathy is a disease that comes up. It doesn't. The symptoms is so mild, you don't feel it, but you suddenly go blind. It's a disease that is associated with diabetes. It only happens with people that are diabetic. So if you look at with my interaction with the doctor, I discovered that he doesn't even know anything about AI. So the awareness is not there. That's the first challenge. People don't know what capabilities is possible or the possibilities with AI. So one, awareness. Two, data. They don't have data. Most of the places you can collaborate with are across, most organizations in Africa, they don't keep their data. We don't have that data keeping culture. So if you don't keep those data, what exactly is the model or the models you are going to develop? What exactly are they going to work on? Another issue is funding. It is very expensive to deploy AI solutions. In most cases, extremely expensive. And for example, if you want to deploy a robot like Libby that is being used in South Africa, it's a lot of money. And this robot does a lot. It's like, it's a reference. You ask questions, the robot tells you, oh, this kind of book, this is where you can get it. Look at virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality, which are also subfields of artificial intelligence. This area, they are not being explored. For example, there was a time I saw in the news, a professor in the University of Ilorin said they don't have cadavers for their anatomy students or medical students to study. They don't have cadaver. Cadaver is a dead body that the medical people, they dissect, they study. But you can use augmented reality. You can use augmented reality to bring in a virtual cadaver, a virtual body, dissect and study without necessarily paying so much to buy dead bodies to put in your lab, without necessarily getting, of course, some medical personnel will feel that, you dissecting a virtual image cannot be the same as dissecting a dead body. You don't get the same feeling. But the truth is, it saves cost. Instead of having to buy probably 100 cadavers, you have you can use a digital cadaver. You can dissect it digitally through augmented reality and use it to do your practicals. Then before the student graduates, to make sure they have opportunity to interact with the real cadavers itself. So that's by the way. Another challenge in Africa for AI is the fact that we do not. It's not like we don't have skilled men or we don't have people that are knowledgeable, but the knowledge is not formal. The knowledge is not formal. In our curriculum, for example, in Nigeria, the courses, they take artificial intelligence, but nobody takes you through the practicals as to, this is how it is being done. This is what it entails. Remember that artificial intelligence entails robotics, machine learning, information retrieval, augmented reality. It's not possible to cover all these within the curriculum. And then most of the people you find in the field, they just stumbled on it. They just felt, AI is the buzzword, that's where it's going. They just take few tutorials on Python and then they start saying, I'm an ML developer or I'm an AI expert or things like that. The in-depth knowledge that is needed to be able to deliver the kind of benefit that we're expecting from AI is not there because the education is not formal. The training of, I know that the Rwandan government has a partnership with African Development Bank. They gave them $10 million US. $10 million US was given to the Rwandan government to support the Carnegie Mellon African University that is established. And the essence of that university is to basically teach machine learning. That's what they do. So you can apply for a master's program in that university. It is fully funded. because they have support from African Development Bank. So,
Dr. Moteyiwa,
yes, sir.
can you please round up in 2 minutes?
Hello.
Can you please round up in 2 minutes?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Doctor, I can hear you. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Doctor, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I was talking about
Doctor,
the challenges. Again, power. Power is a challenge, especially I'll be able to talk of Nigeria in terms of power. Okay, it's all right. Power is a challenge. You want to run, if you don't have a fantastic machine to run your models, and the model is going to take, let's say, for example, for it to converge, it's going to take about 5 hours. Within that 5 hours, you're not even sure whether there'll be power. And then if you have to put on your gen for your models, for your machine to converge and arrive at an output, it is a lot of cost on the developer. That's one of the. What are the opportunities? I already mentioned some of these opportunities. There's Nuru that's already in use in Kenya for disease detection. And the interesting part about Nuru is that Nuru understands Swahili. Nuru understands Swahili. And then there is the robotics is very expensive. So we may not, except we have international collaboration for international funding, we may not be able to deploy some AI robotic application, which will be very, very useful in the industry, in the manufacturing industry. Of course, most of the manufacturing industry across Africa, apart from the big ones, are struggling. They're struggling, so for you to tell them to come and pay so much to acquire a robot and things like that. Another issue around opportunity also in education. Opportunity also in education, you can through mixed reality. I can visit Europe without necessarily maybe the Basilica. I can visit the Basilica without physically being present in Basilica through mixed reality, because mixed reality allows you to interact with those objects you are seeing. We have, some of us would have seen, maybe if you go to ShopRite or some of these centers, you see the Oculus. When you put on the Oculus, you see things. You see virtual images around you. That can be used as some people spend so much visiting Jerusalem and yes.
You have 1 minute, sir.
Hello.
1 minute.
Can you hear me?
1 minute.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So basically, the opportunities that are bound in AI is limitless. That's the truth. It's limitless because it touches every area, every sphere of life. In medicine, the radiologists, the radiographers can use a machine learning. You understand? They can use machine learning. The information retrieval aspect we deals with recommender system can be used in libraries. You have read a book and there are other interesting books or other interesting articles that are related to that paper you have read. They can be suggested to you through recommender system. So the opportunities that are bound in AI is limitless. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Omoteyiwa.
You're welcome.
That was a very brilliant insight. Thank you very much. So, questions from viewers, please.
This is a man has very AI illiteracy and the AI awareness. So maybe my own question is around the education.
Hello.
Who is going to teach this AI that we are talking about? So if you can discuss on that, please. Thank you.
Hello, Doc. Can you hear me? Doctor?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, can you please repeat your question because the network went off?
Yes, I'm saying there is a question, 2 questions. Number 1 is from Dr. Sunday. What is the how do we strike the balance between AI literacy and AI awareness? And my question is around who is going to be teaching this AI that we need people to learn in the classroom?
Hello?
Maybe I will put the question in the chat. Dr. Dada, please take over.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Emmanuel.
Okay,
so I think we can move on to the next presenter. Apparently, Dr. Miss Mary Adewumi is in a hurry. I wasn't aware of this before. Can we have a discussion? Can we have a presentation first? Then questions will be thrown open to all the presenters, including Dr. Omotenwa, because we are quickly running out of time. Dr. Omotenwa, I hope that is fine with you.
It's all right. It's all right. I would have loved to respond to Dr. Mogaji's question on how we are going to strike a balance between the literacy
okay, can you do that in 1 minute?
And the illiteracy.
Can you do that in 1 minute, Doctor?
Okay. It is we that we already have the understanding. Unfortunately, some of us are already, the knowledge of AI must start from probably the secondary school. We have to start evangelizing about it. We have to ensure that people in government can create a curriculum where they can understand what we stand to benefit. Because this is where the future stands, whether we like it or not. Most of the systems or the products that are going to come up in the nearest future, this physical system are going to be powered by IT. So if we don't find the means, the people that he said, who is going to teach AI in the classroom? To teach it. Some of us that have, there's Indaba deep learning across Africa, in South Africa, in Tunisia, and in Nigeria. They just need publicity. What they do, they organize summer schools. They organize Indaba deep learning organize summer schools to teach people about AI. So some of us that are already in the academia, we can also take up this task because one of our major responsibilities as an academic is community service, apart from teaching and research. So as part of our community service, we can take a day out and visit the nearest secondary school along our community and speak to them about AI. Who knows? One of the pupils or the student we will speak to will be inspired.
Doctor, Dr. Motenwa, thank you very much. You'll be given more time to share ideas. Please, let's move on to the next presentation so that we can accommodate everyone.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Miss Mary.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Sorry for that. I was looking at the time because I've already planned that after 5 p.m. I was supposed to be in a meeting or something. So I just had to crunch the meeting and said I'm going to join them by 5. So sorry about that. Okay, so I'm talking about, thank you, Dr. Timidayo. It was as if you saw my slide. I was looking at it that did you actually see my presentation, before your presentation. So thank you very much. So that means, okay, so the next slide, please. So here in Africa, challenges and opportunities. Okay, so I'm going to be real here because I think I've been able to start a company, or I started a company that was eventually affected by what is happening in Africa or in Nigeria presently. Sorry, next slide, please. Okay, so we are talking about the lack of data culture. Okay, I started with MOA Analytics, and that's where my email address came from. MOA Analytics with my friend in the US. So it was both registered. The company was both registered in Nigeria and in the US. Okay, why did we start the company? After reading data science, we saw that there was no company really wanted to take the data scientists because we are programmers. We write program. Why she's on the visualization aspect, because we have different types of these data scientists. There are some that write programs, the others they make use of apps, into visualization. So or to make it into visuals. So we saw that there was really we're having issue with data. We wanted to collect data in Nigeria, to start with, any company that we approach that, okay, we just want to, based on what we have, we want to, what's it called? View the insight, want to give you insight of what can happen in your company or how data can drive success in your company. So it was really an uphill task, and we just saw the need that we lack data culture. That data culture in collection of data, in not just collection of data, because data differs. We have the good quality, we have the quality data, and we have the bad quality data. There's some data, like if we collect an image, and the image, there's some image that, the specification is not really right. Like if you collect maybe an X-ray or this one, and the X-ray, you'll not be able to get good what's it called, model from it at the end of the day. Most of the time, while pre-processing the data, there's some data we just throw away, won't be able to get something because it requires lots of pre-processing, to be able to work on it. So I'm just going to be relating all this with my experiences each to talk about the challenges. Inaccessibility to data. Okay, I'm going to talk about what happened to last year. My supposed supervisor or PI requested that I should submit to a conference. We wanted to talk about the extent of telemedicine in Nigeria, or how far. I wanted, to work on it with some groups, a team. I have a medical doctor, then I have an IT specialist with me, And before you know it, so we started requesting for data. We went to NIDA, we went to Nigeria Port System, or that is in charge of all this medical data. So you couldn't access the data with one, it was a long, what's it called? It was a tug of war. And I could remember that there was an app guy that I think he developed an app, and he was talking about, that he did an app to make it easier for women to give birth and to tell them about things they see while giving birth. I contacted the guy on LinkedIn that, please, can you just that I'm going to focus and I'm going to feature you in the work. That is a big deal. The conference was to be held in Romania, so it was a big conference among the information specialists. But the guy never replied, and so many other things happened. And then I was like, whoa. So that's to tell us that we don't really, even when we are ready to sign the consent form, because data privacy matters, and where we're talking about data ethics, like medical data, when we are talking about medical AI, like maybe medical AI expert, we look at the data privacy, we look at the transparency, we look at the explainability. Those are the ethics behind the data. We look at it that, okay, looking at this data, we cannot expose it. What do? We take we sign the consent form that whenever we want to use it, we remove the patient IDs. We remove anything that can relate back to those patients, that you can trace it back to those patients. So nobody will know whether we use this particular data or use that particular data. Yes, that's the collective name of that data will be there, but we won't really go into detail, and those are ordeals, And before you know it, you already know what's going to happen. I think we not did the key informants, we didn't get enough data. We didn't get enough. I think the key informants were not, because we're given timeline, and before you know it, I think we are able to submit. I think we were able to transcribe 4 out of 15. Even with the 15, they were like, no, you can't use 15 key informants to say you want to judge or you want to say this is what is happening in Nigeria. And before you know it, yes, of course, the project was aborted, were not accepted, and it was tough, And it was a big deal, because what we are using, the method we are using, is a big deal, to know the extent of telemedicine. And if we're not talking about the extent of when we don't have data to actually put our report out there, how is the world out there going to know where we are in this area or in this AI level? How are they going to know? Because imagine if I had access to data and I was able to present that, okay, this is where we are in telemedicine. You're talking about telemedicine in Nigeria now. This is where we are. There's so many funds, there's so many people that will come and say, okay, why can't we come together? Why can't we work together? Why can't we do this together? So these are really deeper issues that we are facing currently in Nigeria. Okay, looking at that, data storage, lack of broadband, internet is still very expensive. Like if you're looking at image modality, if you're looking at image data, oh my word, is a lot. We use, I remember the one I did on colorectal cancer. When I saw that I wasn't, I think the data was it not 90 gig? Was it not 90 gig? So I looked at it. Yes, I had access to your Google Cloud system, but I was having issues because Google Cloud system do not work perfectly in Nigeria. And not when you're even using Google Cloud system, you are talking about uploading it, because before you can run your model has to be, the data has to be seated on your system. Even if you're running it from the Google Cloud system, the Google Cloud system, the Google Cloud platform has issue with the direction, because you make use of, maybe you make use of, most of the time we don't make use of Africa, we make use of US, for there's this geospatial, we make use, just like virtual, it works like virtual private network, that's VPN. So, and before you know it, the issue, it got to a point, okay, I now went to use Amazon, that's the Amazon bottle. And 50,000, I bought 50,000. Before you know, my 50,000 just finished, and I was not able to run the model. That's to tell you how expensive it can be. So what I did was that I just packed it to one side. I said, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to run this model again. The one Cargo Notebook gave me, I just packed it to one side. Well, I now got few data, I now augment it. There's something we call augmentation in computer vision. So I augmented I augmented those data, and augmenting means that we collect to make many patches of those images and now use it, which normally, because it's not live, it normally runs cheaper, and normally it will give you at least detail, into your model. But you just know that model cannot be too perfect. Yes, the scientists are saying, or the researchers are saying it can be perfect, but it can be too perfect than compared to when you're running your model live. So these are really issues that we are having, as in deeper issues that we are having as one of the challenges of AI in Africa. Okay, looking at it, so energy infrastructure is what's hand in hand. I remember when I was graduating, or when I was transitioning from policy researcher to AI, because I had to do all the courses. I had to do so many courses, because I just want to get to that expert level, and there's so many driving forces, for me then. And what I did was that in the morning, thank God for COVID, I would say COVID was a blessing, not a cost to me. In the morning, what I would do is that before they take light, I'll make sure I charge all the system. I'll charge system, I charge the phone, because I will use the phone as what's it called, as a hotspot for my system. So it was, before it, when they take light, I was just like, whoa, you put on the gen. I remember how much I was spending on gen, because the energy infrastructure was not there. There was no power system and everything. Imagine if it was somebody that cannot even afford food to eat, how will he able to? Yes, he has a skill in it, he has a grit, but how will he able to be able to afford that? So I want to transition. I really want to transition to to an AI expert, So it was really a tough one to crack. But, I just made up my mind that all my salary and everything was just going into it. It was going to power. It was going to MOCs, that's online, and no effective policies guiding us really. AI in Africa, there are no effective policy. Like the last speaker said, he said the awareness is not even there in the first place. They are not even aware. I remember during one of my, I think there was during one of my work on colorectal cancer. I think another one. There was another one, and I had to go and meet a doctor. I was like, oh, can you just assist me, and I just needed to do this, I was, when you're bringing so much energy that you wanted to, you just get the knowledge of what's it called, particular box and, you know, to just get, was COVID, yeah. I wanted to get COVID, you know. I wanted to get the COVID analysis because that was what actually led me to medical expert, because I there was some issues that led to me, you know, transitioning from being a data scientist and moving to medical expert. Yes. So 2 more minutes. Now you're rushing me up, and that's what I'm scared of. You know, I've been talking about it. That's why, you know, please. So no funding for the research. So there's no funding, or, you know, there's no suitable education curriculum. Okay, last week I was talking about curriculum. We can even start from the younger ones. We can start from the primary level. That's to tell you the truth. There's so many things that we can talk about. You know, yes, we're talking about animations. Now our children are getting used to touch. They just want to touch and make everything and get the result. What happens to the programming? What happens to making use of our keypad? What happens to making use of our fingers? Making use of our fingers, you know, to work, to really actually program. It starts from there. So it starts from making use of our fingers, you know, making use of the fingers. Because if you are talking about the Microsoft binary table and everything, you know, yes, they do the thinking for them. Is the AI doing the thinking, not we actually doing the thinking. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, I'm not going to, no, please go to the next slide, please. The next one. So now when you're not talking about the opportunity, there's so many opportunities if you can leverage on it. The health system and AI. When you're talking about the health system and AI, I'll say I'll dwell more on this because at the end of the day, we needed health system and AI. What made me actually to navigate or to transition to that? You know, sorry. Please just give me 5 moments because please, you know, what actually led me to that was that I have a father-in-law that was a professor of pharmacy, and something happened. He was sick during COVID. He was sick during COVID and he was insisting that, oh, it must be so person that has to treat him, so person that has to treat him. And before you know it, before they got all this EHR, it's not EHR device and everything. It wasn't actually even COVID that happened to him. It was pneumonia because they couldn't distinguish between the COVID, because COVID symptoms is very much related to pneumonia. So they couldn't distinguish between the COVID and pneumonia, and because of that, they neglected him, and he passed away. He passed away through. It was a sad moment, it was really a sad moment in my life, and I was like, can't there be a computer-aided platform or a computer-aided diagnosis that will be able to diagnose, a speed of diagnosis before all these people meet their deaths? Because why? Because there's always a longer diagnosis. So many, when you're talking about cancer and disease, you know, they will have gotten metastatic, that is, they've gotten to stage 4 cancer before they even diagnose that, okay, they have this particular type of cancer or they have this particular type of cancer, you know. And these are opportunities that we can leverage on, that we can just make use of. You make use of the code, you know, you make use of the expertise, you make use of this, and before you know it, just get the EHR and I will tell you whether that person has cancer, this particular kind of cancer, this is the risk of that cancer, this one, and you know, and you see that you are saving more lives. We are adding more. We are saving more lives. We are preventing more lives. You know, just getting into just their life being cut short just because of issues like this. Okay, the funding for ecosystem building. You know, if we don't get it out there, nobody's going to know what we have. Like I mentioned the telemedicine. If we don't get it out there, how are we going to build our ecosystem? How are they going to know this what we are? How are we going to start from the bottom approach and start from the minimum one and start from the the person that is just entering into AI? Education redesign. We've talked about it. That's of the issue of education and curriculum. You know, national and regional strategy. Then the national and regional strategy policies, you know, policies guided. When there are policies in place, you know, when there are expertise and policies in place, they're ethics guiding all these things. They're ethics guiding AI in business. There's ethics guiding AI in medicine. When there are right policies in place, there's so many opportunities of AI in Africa. You know, mentioning the Rwanda, also what happened during COVID, mentioning so many other places like that, you know, just because of they gave opportunity, gave AI opportunity to work. And okay, somebody was saying, who is going to teach? Yes, we are there to teach. I mentor some people, you know, I started mentoring, I started started teaching that you can get this done. And there's so many people in Africa. Like now, I have a guy, Dr. Ashraf, he's not yet a doctor, and preaching and talking about biometricians, training biometricians. I want to train 1 million biometricians in Africa. Those are the people. Start from there. Start leverage on the few resources that we have, and there's so many free resources that we can have, And another thing with Africans, which I will mention, is that Africans, we don't want to do the work. We don't want to do the work. Sometimes we can so much. I'm going to just be real here. We can so much lack the grit. That's the truth, because when I saw the way I transitioned, it was a tough one. As in, I transitioned from knowing nothing about it in 2 years and become an expert. It's not a day work. It's like I hardly sleep, 3 hours, maybe I sleep 2 hours in a day or 3 hours in a day. Once I'm sleeping, I'm waking up. I'm sleeping, I'm waking up. Oh, I have this one to do. I have that one to do. I have this one to do. I have that one to do. It was a lot of work. Why? Because we're transitioning. It's not yet been accepted. It's not yet been, but we want to transition, want to be the best in what we are doing. And I noticed too, when you put a group together, because I lead a group, and I lead a group that comes from different countries, come from Canada, come from US, come from all these places. And I see my African people telling me, sometimes they'll come to my, they'll come and tell me, oh, Mary, this one, can you just narrate what has been happening over the Slack channel for when we started started the project? And I'll be like, are you for real? You want me to start narrating what happened from the beginning? What's happening to you reading up? Why? Because there was a system in place mixing the machine learning, the junior machine learning engineers, the senior machine learning engineers. And were they doing? They were trying to do the information circulation. They were trying to make the junior or the person that doesn't have experience to learn and latch onto the senior one so that they can learn, and you saw that kind of opportunity, consider okay, and you saw that kind of opportunity, and you're not taking it by the end and just say, oh, I'm grabbing onto this opportunity, and you will not read, you will not do anything, and you now want somebody to come and say, oh, okay, maybe come and explain everything from the beginning to the end. There's a way I raise my eyebrow and say, I'm sorry, I don't have time for this. So these are really issues that we have in Africa. So I believe that if you can have that grit, if you can just put in more effort, there's so many opportunities for us, because the word out there, they will tell you, okay, because we are from this, they will say, oh, because we are from this, I see opportunities, they'll push it to us. If you're from this, please apply for this. If you're from this, apply for this. But how are they going to help us if we are not ready, to say, oh, I'm available. Oh, I'm ready for it. Oh, I'm capable to actually carry it out. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mary Adewumi. Questions? There are some questions already in the chat. Maybe I can start with that one. We start with the last question that came from Dr. Sunday Olale. How can international collaboration solve some of the problems you highlighted in Africa regarding AI? Ms. Adewumi, can you start?
Yeah. It's like, how can international collaboration solve some of the problem? Yeah. Most of the time is that they do funding. Okay, I know of NCI. There's so many funding on. I'm going to talk about my own aspect. I'm going to talk about the ed sector, And they send so many, like, I remember last year, they sent funding, this one, and they just saying that they want to take data science or the applicability of data science to earth in Africa. We see so many of those opportunities. But the only thing is that if we are not there yet, because they are going to look at it, these people are specialists, they rate grants, they rate all these things based on what we know, based on our CV, based on what you can actually do. They are not looking at based on the theoretical aspects. They are looking at how can we carry out a project from the beginning to completion? How can we carry out a model? How can we carry the model, the Earth model that we are doing? How can we carry it to the market and say, oh, this is what I've been able to do? That's what they are looking at. So when you're talking about collaboration, it comes in so many forms. Number one, like me, I leverage on Omdena. I had to enter into the project what's it called? The project approach. That's the project approach. I started with the project approach. Yes, I've been able to got I got the theoretical knowledge. I got everything because you read everything. But how can you attach? You attach to all those big companies. You attach to all those people that are not biased, that they have DEI. They have DEI, like Umdena for this one. They welcome Nigerians. They welcome Africans. They want Africans are leading there. So those are the things that we look out for, And not only that, Cargo. When I entered Cargo and, and they were looking for, they said underrepresented. I started from Cargo after training or transitioning. I started from Cargo, I started learning, and everything. And they were like, oh, you don't use some words. Those are the companies, those are the international places that we look out for. Those are the people, not those people that they will place the pictures of those researchers they just sponsored and they are all white. No, we look out for those people that really that really welcome, what's called the blacks, that with the black skin. And there are many. If once they see that grit in us, once they see that drive in us, once they see that we actually know what we are doing, we actually know what we are looking for, there is no how they will not sponsor us. When I was sponsored by Women in Machine Learning, they saw my work, they were like, whoa, they love it. And so many other work like that, they will just, oh, they love it. They love the way you think, and before you know it, they will collaborate with you and they put their fund in it. They put their fund and make it easier for us. At the end of the day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Adewumi. We have 8 minutes left. I would like to entertain questions from the general audience, from all our presenters. Now, there is okay, please. Oh,
yes, thank you. I just quickly want to hear from Miss Mary about her company. She was saying something about that didn't work out well. Can you just briefly tell us what would you have done differently now?
Okay. Talking about my company, it wasn't because I stopped persisting because I wanted to go for my PhD. That was what happened. And my partner that's supposed to take over got another job. She was in the US, so she got another job with Microsoft, and that was demanding. So we had to. So the two of us, we were chasing different things at the same time. I was chasing my PhD. She was chasing, because the company was not generating funds yet, and she got a job. She got a bigger job from my company to Microsoft, and that was it. So
okay. That's all right.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Dr. Sanusi.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Yes, the panelists for the fantastic presentation, and I want to thank you, Mr. Moderator, as well. Yeah, I think this conversation will not be complete without talking about teaching of AI in our institutions, maybe higher education institutions or compulsory education level, which you have mentioned in your presentation. Now, you talked about how to teach these kids in primary school and secondary schools. And again, it's all, boiled down to even our higher education institutions in Nigeria, in Africa, we have issues, right? So how do we come to the level of the kids in terms of teaching them about AI and related concepts? What are your concerns about that? That's my question. Thank you.
Dr. Sanusi, is a question to a particular panelist?
No. Just the panelists generally.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Anybody can jump in.
Thank you.
All right. Can I?
Yes, please.
Hello. Okay. So, just the last 3 days, I saw some posts in Kenya where Kenya have actually introduced coding at the basic level, which I think that is the key, where other African countries can actually learn from this. So you see, and China, the same way China at the basic level, they have introduced basic data science that students have been learning. So when they get to a certain position, you see that they build the competency and they have the zeal for it. So I think that it's high time of revise curriculum and embrace the what is actually evolving. I told you that one of the issues, if you remember when I was making the presentation, one of the issues is that those are the helms of affairs. They call themselves "I came before computer." So sometimes they are actually, because of divergent views, they are actually afraid that if they allow certain things to come in, it will push them out. So they are always standing at one spot and making it difficult for the younger generation to actually bring in the new things. So in effect, all I would say is that if African countries can adapt what Kenya have done, introducing basic data science or let's say coding, of course, there are a lot of tools that even teaches how to code. For instance, at the University of Eastern Finland, they developed a platform called Yeliot. And Yeliot can be used to learn Java. It's just control kind of program. So I think that it's high time we revise our curriculum and then go to the very basic and introduce basic data science and so basic coding courses there. And that can help Africa also grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Willie. So now I will take some questions, some of the questions that were posted in the chat room. Number one question is, somebody asked, I would love to know more about the relation and interaction of AI with geomatics/geoinformatics. Any of the panelists, please?
I think that question. I think that question was for Ms. Ochoada because she's the person in Geo AI.
Yes.
But she has left.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, my apologies to the person who actually asked the question. I was hoping to pray to everyone. Oh, do you want to try, Dr. Will?
Yeah, facilitator. Not necessarily, but just to say this. You see, in fact, I like Mary's presentation and all other panelists, and they spoke a lot about the challenges in Africa. But you see, one of the biggest challenge in all this is corruption. Let me put it this way. They all spoke about what we call it data, quality data. Now, let me give a scenario. Let's assume that a company, an NGO, has won grants and you want to support poverty eradication in, let's say, globally. So this particular company wants to find a strategy to probably select those countries that he wants to take those funds to. Now, to be able to do this, he will need certain data in order to analyze and understand the needs of people globally, countries globally. Now, in machine learning, we have a technique, which is unsupervised learning technique called, of course, clustering technique. Now, you can use clustering technique based on certain attributes, based on certain data, to be able to predict and know which countries that are actually suitable, or countries that you should take the funds to, the money to. Now, in our context in Africa, because of corruption, for instance, if somebody builds a school, if the cost is, let's say, 50,000 naira, he's going to inflate it and say 20,000 naira, indicating that huge amount of money has been spent in building that school. And our politicians will tell us that they have done this, they have done that, they have done that. Meanwhile, they haven't done it. And all this is a form of data. So assuming that the NGO picks all this data and analyze, you come to realize that because the data has integrity issues, corruption, and we are not actually putting the exact data that should be put out there. When the NGO takes this data to analyze, to see, or to predict, or to cluster and see countries that the funds has to go, you would realize that Africa may not even make the cut because we are not putting out the right data. So data quality as a result of corruption is a problem in Africa. And of course, as for corruption, you know how it is. Anyway, so I wanted to bring this up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is actually very powerful. So apart from just talking about the literature and all those book stuff, the reality of the matter is that some people are not just interested in the solution. They are profiting from the problems. Thank you very much. Another question is, okay, this has been answered already. Okay, how do we strike a balance between AI illiteracy and AI awareness? Dr. Motewa, do you want to try?
Yeah, I think, tell me that, I think his network.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. I was attempting to respond to that question when it seems you couldn't hear me.
Okay.
Yes. To strike a balance, we need to continue to create awareness.
Okay.
If the people that are going to utilize or benefit from this solution are not aware of the possibilities, there's no way they can embrace it. So just like the last speaker has said, that we have to start teaching it in primary and secondary school, we have to teach it. And if we are going to teach it, it will be simplistic to just say that AI is a process to teach the computer to solve problems that humans are better at solving. But because they will do it faster and they will not be fatigued, it will be simplistic to think that that's the kind of explanation we are going to give the primary school pupil or the secondary school. We have to teach it. It has to be practical. They must be able to feel it in action. And it is only when they can see it work, that's when they can understand it at their level. If they don't see it work, they can't understand it. What it means is that the burden is also on those instructors. They must be grounded. They must be grounded. They must know their onions. They must know what to teach. They must know how to teach it. So that's the only way we can get that balance. So the awareness must be on. We must keep evangelizing. We must keep evangelizing AI and its possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Please, if you're not speaking, can you please mute your mic? Thank you very much. We are about to round up. All right, thank you, Dr. Temitayo. Now, another question. I think we have three more questions. Two after this one. What is the diffusion rate of AI in Africa at the moment? Any idea? Doctors? Dr. Awuni, Ms. Mary Adewumi, any idea? Yeah.
In fact, as for the frankly speaking, is difficult. I haven't actually come across any research actually come out with a diffusion rate, but per my own, observation, I think that it's moving a bit faster now because the youth have actually realized that data science or machine learning is the way to go. And many of them, in fact, I have a lot of students coming to me expressing interest in this area and all that. I think that we are moving a bit faster. But the challenge here has to do with the trust that the industry, the government, and organizations have in the academia. The trust is not there. So sometimes when they need something, the trust is not there because of the disconnect. When they need something, they rather prefer to outsource from the Malaysia, from the India, from the Europe and all that, whilst we are here also producing students, with these competencies. And there are a lot of talents in Africa, but you see the trust is problematic. So as for the diffusion rate, a bit difficult because I haven't seen that.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. A question from Dr.
Add. Sorry, something to add again.
Okay.
It might be what's it called? It might be out of the pot, but I will say yes, the diffusion rate, just like Dr. said, Dr. Winnie said, that's profound. But another thing is that when the AI, the ones that are very good and they don't have the right environment to support them, they move out. Other countries are taking them. So it's leading to brain drain in Nigeria as we speak. The ones that are very good now, they are getting out. They're moving out. So because like I would not say this one. I was really interested in making my own difference in the medical world in Nigeria, but I was frustrated. When you want to ask for, you want to get this, it's a no, it's that one, it's a no, this one, it's a no, this one, it's a no. And other countries are saying, Mary, come and do this one, or they give you everything you need. They give you the system with higher capability. They give you access to what's it called, the internet. They give you access to GCP or cloud storage. They give you access, and when they list all those things, you won't have option that you just come on, and you just want to, and just find your way out. So it's really another one of the problems that is really affecting Africa as we speak.
I think we have two more questions left. How can AI accelerate the attainment of the United Nations SDGs in Africa?
Well, Yeah, so SDG, of course, it has seven, and then if you look at the presentations that we have all made, we touched on the opportunities. Mary and Co spoke a lot about the health aspects. And if you look at SDG, I think SDG 3 or so, I think one of the SDGs, of course, focus on the health. And then artificial intelligence. With this, the question it's a very big question that has to be looked at it in specifics. Anyway, but let me just look at an aspect of education, for instance. SDG 1 also promote education, knowledge, and all that. Artificial intelligence we can build some models, used to understand student behavior, predict and understand the challenges they have, and all that. So it helps you to be able to understand your student and design your teaching methodology you tailor your teaching methodology to suit student learning behavior and all that. That is in the area of education. In health, recently I did a consultancy for UNICEF, for instance. UNICEF is in health. And then they have a system, they have a software called IVR technology. And the technology, they've been able to generate massive amount of data. So the idea is that they are promoting and also helping solve health related in Africa. So I had to take the data, analyze the data, and give them the feedback. And based on that feedback, to take certain decisions and all that. And it is all towards, accelerating SDG goals and all that. So I think that with this, you can take it one after the other. And like I said, the question is a very big question with, that required a lot of, explanation.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Last question now. I just took it verbatim from the text, and so I'll read. This is a good foundation to bring to bear AI as seen in Africa perspective, but yet we have not tackled the awareness even from amongst ourselves. But how do we start? The awareness of AI between ourselves. Whoever posted this question, can you please clarify? At least as far as I'm concerned, I'm not sure I fully understand the question. But panelists, do you want to give it a try? If you
yeah. I would say maybe the person that posted the question, you are not in the right platform yet. Because it all starts from you getting yourself in the right platform. Follow the right people that are really talking about AI. There's so many AI evangelists now in Africa. Like when I see any opportunity, I know that it's free, because we know that we can afford to throw out the dollars, because we know what dollars is in our country or in our world generally, or in Africa generally. So when I see free opportunity, I share them. Most of the time I'll tell you, you might not ask me to connect with you, because I might not connect, until I know you. But when you follow me, there's so many opportunities. I just keep sharing and keep sharing and keep sharing and keep sharing. When I see free bioinformatics training, free this one, free Google developer, free this one, just keep sharing. And before you know it, so many people have been trained, as in few people around me, they started having interest, they started developing interest, and before you know it, they started getting on the AI part. And that's our own little way of sharing and making AI to be aware among us that yes, we can do this. Yes, we can actually take the word or spread the gospel to everybody that needs to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to add to that I think CEMRI, for instance, what we are even doing now is also creating some sort of awareness, even among us. I know that some of us are in different areas, and then AI is something that can be applied in all other areas. So I think that CEMRI is also, promoting AI, creating awareness and all that. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Adewumi. Thank you, Dr. Omotenyiwa. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to talk to you on this particular roundtable session. With this, I would like to call on our president at CEMRI, Dr. Emmanuel Mogaji, to address us as the final item on the agenda.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure listening to the different conversations around the challenges and opportunities of AI. I guess we agree with me, Dr. Dada, that 2 hours is not enough. Like, yes, we could not really dig deep as we have wanted. Even Ms. Mary had to rush it. But at least, thank you so much for everybody that has participated. I would also like to acknowledge Dr. Emmanuel Awuni's point about what CEMRI is doing. So we are a research group. We focus on understanding the issues affecting Africa and trying to solve it in our own little way. We recognize that Africa's issue is very big, but what can we do in our own little way? We are a non-governmental organization, a multidisciplinary group. We are committed to collaborating and sharing scientific research findings among African scholars and professionals. Our ultimate aim is just to share, to come together and to discuss about these things, and ultimately to find a solution. Perhaps if it's just small, what mark are we going to make? And I guess the multidisciplinary nature of our group also presents that different perspective. And as we can see from the presentation today, we've got from sales, we've got from marketing, we've got from health, and again we've got the teachers, we've got the lecturers, and we've also got the practitioners. So it's been a pleasure to share this platform with you. Thank you so much for everybody that has joined. This roundtable is what we do every month. Is often the fourth Saturdays of every month. We try to pick a topic and we try to discuss about it. We hope to see you next time. Apologies, this has run over by 30 minutes, but we hope you benefited from it. I have taken down some notes and actually tried to identify some practical things that I will be doing moving on. One thing for me would be perhaps going to a school, but maybe that's not really feasible for me. But like what Dr. Omote was said about perhaps going to a school, trying to talk to some children, you are sowing a seed. And what Mary was saying about being in the right community where those informations are going, and also Linda's point about the chatbot. I think those are some of those things to explore. So, Dr. Awuni, again, thank you so much for your contribution. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you all the very best and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, Dr. Dada. I will hand over to you. On that note, let me quickly also appreciate those who work behind the scenes. Yes, we see a lot of things going on. Chooks, thank you so much. I think you were saying it at the beginning, a lot of emails going on. We don't see you, we don't see your face, but we really appreciate your work. Chooks, Chukuma Okoli, thank you so much for your effort. And the host, thank you so much for balancing everything. We know it's a very difficult job to engage with everybody, but you've done so well. Thank you so much. I will leave the floor for you now.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just as President mentioned, Dr. Okoli, thank you very much for the hard work. Thank you very much, Dr. Awuni, Dr. Mrs. Adewumi, thank you very much. Dr. Omotayiwa, thank you very much. Also, Miss Linda, although she's not with us, she left already, but thank you also. Thank you everyone for taking the time out to join us today. Your presence is really well appreciated. We are grateful. So with this, we call it today, and hopefully we will see you around in our next roundtable discussion session. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye.